15 cents. That's what it costs us to get 1,000 views on a video. And if you were buying those same 1,000 views on Facebook or on Instagram ads, you'd be paying somewhere between $20 and $50. Now, before you do anything with that number, I want to give you two things about it, because people in my business throw numbers all around the time and most of them fall apart the second you ask a couple questions, okay? The first thing is that it moves. A few months ago, it was 13 cents. The next month, it'll probably something else again, because it depends entirely on what you're posting that month. And the second thing is that it's a low number. It's not the real one. It only counts the clips that we approved, and we throw away more than half of what our own team makes. So the honest version is that it's around 15 cents a day, and I'm gonna show you exactly what's sitting inside of that, okay? So who is this actually for? This is for you if you're already making videos and they're just not going anywhere. If you're still trying to work out what to post, honestly, this is the wrong video, and I'd close it, because everything I'm about to say is about what happens after the thing already exists. And that group is bigger than people think, by the way, because most of the creators I talk to aren't making too little. They're making way more than their own account can carry. And they've got a hard drive full of stuff nobody's ever seen. The problem is that from the inside, making too little and not spreading it feels exactly the same. They both feel like you're not working hard enough. So people go and make more, which is a wrong move, and I'll show you in a minute why. There are 4 places this breaks, and almost everybody is staring at the first one. The video themselves, the accounts that carry them, what you throw away, and then the numbers at the end. And let's go through them properly. So, the videos. That's where everybody starts, right? Better hooks, better editing, better thumbnails, go find whoever's winning and copy what they're doing. And honestly, I get why. Because that's the only part you can actually fix on your own at 11 at night without needing anybody else, okay? But here's what happened when we tried it. When we started out, we took the clips that the creator already had posted, the ones that had done already well on his own account, which seemed obvious to us. Why guess when you can just use what's already working? And they did worse than the clips he'd thrown in the bin. It took us weeks to actually believe that, because it made no sense. We assumed we'd cut them badly, so we cut them again, and we got the same result. Then we assumed it was just that one creator. So we tried somebody else, and we got the same result again. And the reason turns out to be pretty simple. Once you see it, what works on your account works because those people already know you. They know the joke, they know who the other guy on the screen is. They know why you reacted like that, because they watched the bit before it, okay? None of that travels with the clip. Every single one of those things is something the viewer has to already have in their head. A stranger doesn't have it, all they get is confusion. So a clip that needs your backstory only ever works for people who already follow you, which is exactly the group that you don't need to reach. And let me make that real for a second, because it's easy to nod along and quite hard to actually use. If your clip opens with you reacting to something the viewer can't see, that's a backstory. If it opens with a name they don't know, that's a backstory. If the funny part is only funny because of what happened 5 minutes earlier, that's backstory. And if you have to say, so like I was saying, that's backstory too. None of that makes it a bad clip, by the way. On your own channel, it's probably a great clip. It just doesn't survive leaving your account. So the rule we use now is that your raw footage is a warehouse rather than a pile of finished posts. You go in and you pull things out of it. You don't just repost what's already in there. And when we open a few hours of somebody's footage, we're basically asking 4 questions in order. Does this make sense with the sound off? Does it make sense if you have no idea who the guy is? Is the interesting part in the first 2 seconds, or is it buried at the end? And could this be shorter without losing anything? Most clips die on the second question, and a good chunk of the rest die on the third one. Now, is that a law of nature? No. It's just what we've seen with every creator we've run over and over. All right? So that's the first thing. And the second one is where the actual problem really lives. Videos don't travel on their own. They travel on accounts. And you've got one account, one group of followers, one app deciding who gets to see you. And everything you make has to squeeze through that same door. Which means your limit isn't how creative you are. Your limit is how many accounts you own. And you own one. And let me put real numbers on that. because this is the point where people nod and then go straight back to making more videos. All right. Say you post 30 times a month. All 30 of those go to the same account, mostly to the same people, judged by the same app that's already made up its mind about what you are and who to show you to. So in reality, you're not getting 30 fresh chances. You're getting 30 tries at the same door. And if you doubled it to 60, you wouldn't get double the views. You'd just be pushing more stuff through the same door. And mostly the same people would see it. Which is why Just Post More stops working after a while. And it stops working for everybody. And nobody really ever explains why. So our answer to that was hundreds of accounts posting all the same guys' clips in the same week. And we got the first version of that wrong as well. Because we assumed the big accounts would do better, so we went after followers, which makes complete sense, right? More followers, more views. Now that's not what happened at all. The views didn't come from the creators' own accounts. They came from small pages that do nothing but post clips. Sergio11 has a clip page with about 16,000 followers on it, and its best video did 2.4 million views. So a page nobody's heard of beating accounts 100 times its size. And here's why that happens. That page only ever does one thing. So the algorithm knows exactly who to show it to. Whereas a big personal account is doing loads of things at the same time. Gaming clips, personal stuff, announcements, sponsors. So the algorithm has learned that that page is a mix. And when you post something, it goes out to the people who came for something completely different. All right? So one job beats big. And that might honestly be the most useful thing we know right now. Now, the question I always get at this point is, well, why don't I just go and make 10 accounts myself? Generally, you can. Some people go do it and it works for them. But I want you to know what you're actually signing up for. Because a new account is cold. It's got no history, so the algorithm, has no idea who to show it to. So it does almost nothing at the start. And it does almost nothing for a lot longer than you'd expect. And now you're running 10 of those at the same time. Each one needing its own clips and its own consistency, all while you're also still trying to do the thing you're actually good at. And I'm not here just to warn you off of it. It's just what happens. Some people push through it and it works out fine. Okay? Now the third thing is what you throw away. At the start, we approved almost anything and everything, and well, the logic felt fine, right? More clips, more chances, more shots at something landing. But a weak clip isn't harmless, and that's the part we missed. You post it on a real page, and the algorithm watches who bothers to watch it and who likes it. And then the algorithm decides this page is for those people. So if you're posting weak stuff, it sends that page out to people who like weak stuff. And then your good clips go out to that exact same crowd. So a bad clip doesn't just fail on its own. It teaches the page who to fail in front of next time. All right? And that took us the longest to see because the damage is late. You don't see it in the clip that flopped. You see it 3 weeks later in a good clip that should have worked and didn't. And by then, you've completely lost track of what caused it. So cheap clips turned out to be expensive clips with a delay on them, all right? We've had 6,082 clips sent in, and we've approved 2,587. So in reality, we trash more than half of what our own team makes. And that isn't a problem with the system. That's the system. Throwing things away is actually the product. Now, I want to be straight with you about something here. How we find those clippers, how we keep hundreds of them hitting the same standard when they never even met me, how we pay them so nobody gains the count. I'm not going to walk you through any of that, and it isn't because it's some big secret. It's because if you try to build it, you'd spend about a year and a half and a lot of money learning things that are boring and expensive. And at the end of all, you'd have one network. Whereas if we run it, you're already using one that already exists. And honestly, the standard itself isn't even the hard part. Keeping it is. Getting hundreds of people to still hit it in month 9 when everybody's tired and the lazy clip is quicker, that's the whole job. Okay? But if you're going to build it anyway, everything I set up to this point is worth copying. And that part's free and it's real. All right, last one, the numbers. Sergio11 went from 800 followers on Kick to 27,000 followers on Kick in 2 months. And he didn't change a single thing about what he films. He's streaming. He's the same guy, same content, same personality, and the same schedule. If you want the video where I explain how we took a channel from actually 0 to more than 50,000 subscribers, that's Fab the Faca. We did 12 campaigns in 4 months, and I mentioned the parts that we noticed that aren't working. You can find that link somewhere up here, all right?